Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGO Milncraft here with game number 3 between the players Pink Protoss player, which by the way, pink's pretty cool color choice, just saying. Not as good as purple, but pretty close. Fnatic TT1, Fnatic MSI TT1. And his opponent is going to be the legendary, the Terran Sniper Killer Massacre, and apparently 6-pooler, Colonel MVP DongRaeGu. I'm saying Colonel because COL is the abbreviation for Colonel, for those of you who have not watched my Colonel minigun, aka Complexity minigun. That is the symbol for the team Complexity. Not sure why it's COL, it's a little weird to me. But whatever, it looks like Colonel, so it's kind of badass, so I'm going to go ahead and say that. Looks like we will be seeing a Forge Fast Expand, and we will not be seeing a 6-pool, as notably, he has 10 drones. Could still be seeing a 10-pool. Nope, he has an Overlord, unless he cancels the Overlord and switches to his spawning pool really quickly. But it looks like this might actually be a macro game for once. It remains to be seen if DongRaeGu is going to opt for a early hatchery, or if he's going to go ahead and get a spawning pool. Probably as soon as he sees this probe dicking around, he's going to go ahead and get a pool just to be able to make sure he gets Zerglings in case TT1 decides to be a jerk and lay a pylon inside of the natural expansion area. Of course, there are solutions to that. If you so choose as a Zerg player, you could expand all the way down here at the 3rd first, as I mean, it depends what build the Protoss is going. You can generally expect him to be going for a Forge Fast Expand, and in fact, this is a very special kind of Forge Fast Expand in this game, as it is going to be, in fact, not a 14 Nexus, it's going to be a 16 Nexus? Looks like it's going to possibly be a 16 Nexus, but a Nexus is going to be a second building this game. Which actually might leave him a little vulnerable. I'm a little surprised by this, because he does see this timing of the pool, so he should be exactly aware of when it's going to finish. So he is actually opting for a Forge. It's going to be a later Forge than normal, but it'll go Forge, Nexus, and he will have that cannon up in time to be able to deal with those Zerglings, most likely. As DongRaeGu's Overlord will be able to spot that, probably just barely be able to spot the timing of the Forge. Looks like he actually opted for a pylon before the Nexus. Is he getting the gateway as well? No, it looks like he's getting more probes. So this Nexus is actually going to be fairly delayed than what I was expecting. I suppose he's a little afraid of these Zerglings that are moving across. He did lay a pylon here to be able to block it, but looks like DongRaeGu is going to send all 6 Zerglings over to his opponent. All 8 Zerglings, actually. And so TT1 is going to complete the wall up right there. Oh, it is not complete. Did he misdo that? Oh my god, does he not know how to... Okay, I'm sorry, that was the sloppiest walling I've ever seen from a pro player. I'm not going to defend that walling. That was absolutely ridiculous. To have to cancel buildings like that, and then why would he cancel the pylon? Oh my god, he canceled the pylon way too soon. It was still building, it still had health. He let 5 Zerglings into his base. What is he doing? He's falling apart right now. A double 6-pool must be getting to him. Oh my god. He was using, I don't know if you were watching, he was using his probe to check to see if the walling was tight or not. He couldn't tell. I mean, does he not have the little building grid on? Okay, and then he let 4 Zerglings into his base, so Zerglings are going to get 3 or 4 probe kills, most likely, with proper control from DongRaeGu. Because DongRaeGu does not actually have a gas up right now, leaving him in there just a little bit too long. He is going to lose a number of those Zerglings. A little bit of bad micro, actually, from TT1 is going to cause a couple of Zerglings to lose their lives. And look at how delayed this Nexus is. Like, a 3-gate fast expand is somewhat close to those. It's not quite this fast, but it's a little bit closer. I mean, he just... Wow, how many times he canceled the gateway, and then he canceled the pylon. He built the pylon, canceled the pylon, built the gateway, and then when they were attacking the pylon, he canceled it way too soon, and then the photon cannon was not able to get off as many shots on the Zerglings as he wanted to. The Zerglings are going to get a bunch of free hits on that Nexus right now. Meanwhile, DongRaeGu is going ahead and just getting you can see he did in fact get this as his natural instead of the natural, so he just switched the positions of these 2 hatcheries, but because he's getting the hatcheries so quickly, it doesn't matter. Able to deal no hit point damage, but a decent amount of shield damage on that building. Now, the Cybernetics core is going to go down. That Zergling is not at very much health right now. I believe his buddy Zergling was taken down by that cannon. Oh, maybe not. The cannon does only have 1 kill. Not sure what happened to the other Zergling. Possibly he went home to go ahead and deal with that Zealot, who is going ahead and going marching out. Oh, he does have a kill right now, actually. So that Zealot did get a kill on that Zergling. We're going to go ahead and keep clicked on him and go ahead and jump over there as soon as Zealot arrives at his location, which is going to be the natural. He's actually going to see that the natural is not finished. That's going to tell him that there is going to be a 3rd down here. as he does know the timings, and he knows because he hasn't seen that many Zerglings that he isn't aiming for any sort of super all-in. Now, if he actually targeted on that Zergling first, he actually probably could have done a decent amount of damage to the Queen. He already did do about half the damage to the Queen, and did that Zergling get taken out? It appears that that Zergling did in fact get taken out. He is now sending another Zealot over to regroup with this Zealot and possibly try to push back in and kill the Queen, if at all possible. Part of the disadvantage of doing the Forge Fast Expand means that you will not have as many units as normal. And so it means that the Zerg player does not have to be quite as cautious in terms of dealing with you, but their speed is going to be done in less than 30 seconds. So these Zealots do have a limited window of opportunity in order to be able to exact vengeance upon his foes. Looks like these, what is this, 10 Zerglings? These 10 Zerglings are going to be able to clean up these Zealots quite easily. Losing, ooh, nice micro from DongRaeGu, just one Zergling there actually. But it damaging a couple of others. This Stalker is not actually perfectly blocking right now, so the Zerglings could go ahead and run through. TT1 is probably going to want to build a pylon and then have this Stalker actually completely block that location. Looks like the Zerglings are going to be able to take out that probe, which is trying to hide. Another probe does come up, but changes his mind from TT1. And now's the time kind of where we're going to see exactly what kind of tech path he's going. Oh, here we go. Alright. 7 gate. So it's going to be a 7 gate all-in. Most likely a 7 gate all-in. I've actually pretty much, this matchup, we've only pretty much seen warp gate tech from TT1. It'd be interesting to see him try to do some sort of double Stargate build. I think part of it is that the early Lings being let in, the early, you know, like fooling around with all that stuff, the delayed Nexus, all those things put together ended up making it so that TT1, I mean, his build was just basically thrown off. He didn't have enough gas to be able to get what he wanted. And, I mean, look at this. I mean, it looks like DongRaeGu is just reading this from a mile away. He's getting Burrow, which is incredibly deadly against this kind of push. Is that a Robo? Okay, good. A Robo is going to be able to help TT1 against it. But he's getting Burrow, which is definitely very useful, even with robotics. And Missile Attacks level 1, which is awesome for Roaches because it adds +2 to their damage. And Speed, which makes them be able to kite Zealots all day. Now, on the other hand, TT1 is going to have weapons level 1, which is very nice. Of course, as it increases Zealot damage by so much, and of course it increases damage of all your mini gateway units by a lot. Ooh, double Robo. Okay, double Robo. Okay, that's nice. Now, the important question is if he's going to be going for double Robo Colossus. You can't actually really support that off of 2 bases. Not while producing, at least off of that many gateways, but you can get a surge of Colossus in really quickly, and especially if your opponent's going Hydras, as we can see that DongRaeGu is going right now, it can be quite deadly. So we're going to have to see if he puts down a Bay, or if he just gets a lot of Immortals. Looks like he is getting an Immortal. Unfortunately for him, the Hydralisks that are now coming out for DongRaeGu are going to be quite deadly as a result of that Immortal. You can also see that he is down about 25 supply on his opponent. Not terribly, not terribly bad at this point in time. Like, it's not the worst thing to be down that much supply when you're a Forge Fast Expanding Protoss against the Zerg. But certainly something that was less than desirable. We see Groove Spines, which is the range upgrade for Hydralisks, is now being upgraded, as well as Weapons Level 2, and Pneumatized Carapace, which is Overlord Speed, which is probably going to possibly become drop later, as they'll upgrade drop and Overlord Speed as, well, drop is pretty much useless without speed. As Overlords would have to just like slowly drop their forces off into the base. Sometimes you can do like elevator pushes. I've seen that a little bit in Brood War. You can see there is a massive drone lead right now for DongRaeGu, and actually Fnatic TT1 is just taking a base. Okay, so this is 7 gateways. Okay, so maybe he decided that the pressure is not actually going to work against his opponent, and he's going to try to transition out of the 7 gate, which is probably a fine decision. I don't think that all-in really would have worked, and he's going really robo-heavy right now. Not just robo-heavy, sorry, immortal-heavy. Going to want to try to take out that Overseer if at all possible. Nice job corrupting that. Corruption has increased in cost now that Overseers are made cheaper, so, okay. Looks like he's pushing out here. I'm not sure if he's actually going to go for the kill or not. It appears he is. I mean, he's going to get those Zergling kills. Let's go ahead and take a look at this army. I think this army is probably going to do quite a number against TT1's army, unless he has some very nice force fields, which we have seen some very nice force fields in the last game. But I would say most likely he's probably just going to kill a couple of creep tumors, take the watchtowers, clean up the watchtowers, and go ahead and head home and try to secure the 3rd. I would guess. If no, he canceled the 3rd. Oh, he canceled the 3rd. This is an all-in. Okay. So let's see how this goes. Nice force fields there. However, the Hydralisks are able to still fire at the Zealots. The Immortals dealing a lot of damage, meanwhile, as they are auto-firing against the Roaches. The Roaches are the nearest units. Meanwhile, there's a lot of Hydralisks, and it is refilling with a ton of Roaches behind this, as a very large Zerg army, and the Protoss army is disappearing very, very quickly. It's refueling as well, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold this off. There was a lot of creep here, which these Hydralisks can just roller skate around. It looks like he's actually just going to go ahead and chase his opponent back into the corner. Is he going to try to transition out of this, or is he going to continue with the push, as it doesn't look like this push is going to work, so he probably wants to try to take a third at this point in time. Very clever on his part, though, trying to get a Nexus there to try to make it seem like to DongRaeGu that he's just trying to secure a third right now. But the Overseer did in fact get vision, I believe, of all of the gateways. Yep, he did get vision of all of the gateways, so he knew exactly what was going on the entire time. He knew it was a 7-gate all-in. So TT1 is deciding to go ahead and press on with this. I think that this is going to be a little bit dangerous. He is now getting Colossus Tech, which is going to be extremely useful against those Hydralisks. The kind of question is if he's going to really be able to do enough damage before he gets the Colossus taken, or before the Colossus is... I mean, can he get the Colossus out in time before, you know, DongRaeGu just becomes too strong? As DongRaeGu is basically now maxed, and will be maxed for that final attack. And it looks like he's actually just getting a Warp Prism right now. He's going to hang on 2 bases. This is... Ooh, I don't know about this. He really needs to get another base right here. I'm glad that he's warping in Zealots and doing some harass right now. And it's really great to take advantage of the fact that your opponent doesn't have a Spire. But when your opponent's maxed on 4 bases, there was no way you're going to win on a 2-base timing push. This got corrupted again as the nice little sneaky Overseers have gone around and corrupted things. He actually has another corruption available, so he can stop more buildings from producing. He has now supply blocked his opponent. He is 60 ahead on supply. He does not have Overlord drops, but he does have Overlord speed. I think those Overlords are just hanging out either to scare TT1 or to go ahead and drop creep and make sure that his Hydralisks are able to retreat at a timely fashion. Looks like that Zealot drop did scare away the drones there, deal decent amount of damage to the Queen, who is nowhere to be found. Actually, was the Queen? The Queen might have been taken out, actually. Unless it was just transferred to different detail, which is entirely possible. But I think the Queen was in fact taken out. So another replacement Queen is probably going to want to be dropped. So that was pretty good Warp Gate harassment quite there. But on the other hand, he's still down by 50 supply right now. His opponent still has a gigantic army. Looks like he's probably going to be aiming to take a 5th, or possibly he's worried about Blink Stalkers going up this little canal, sniping the Spire, Infestor, which all of his tech buildings right now are on this side. So if the Blink Stalkers blink up, shoot, blink back, then all of a sudden you can't deal with them. But if you could intercept them in between, it's always good to be able to take out those rocks as a Zerg player if you get a chance to be able to do so on Shakuras Plateau. Now, TT1 is just going for a 2-base all-in right here. He's just going to get as many forces as possible, and he moved out into the open. Not quite sure why he decided to do that, as he did not quite have the forces that he really wants to be able to engage this. However, there are no Corruptors right now for MVP DongRaeGu. No force fields actually going down for TT1. That's a little bit surprising to me. Those Colossus are dealing a lot of damage right now. I believe they just have 1 weapons upgrades, and was able to clean out that armory pretty effectively. However, there are 12 Corruptors on the way that should be able to deal with those Colossuses quite well. He's going to want to refill on Stalkers almost immediately. He is refilling on Stalkers right now, and he's taking out a number of Overlords right now. MVP's DongRaeGu is actually paying the price for that huge number of Overlords, and probably he's going to want to go ahead and keep with the pressure, as his opponent is going to remax very, very quickly, and he does have a very large income, as he actually only has 71 workers, which is a little bit lower than I would have expected, probably about 80 for that many bases. I think the Warp Gate harassment was pretty effective. It doesn't appear to be going on currently right now. Able to get a couple more Overlord kills, but he still has really supply blocked his opponent until just now, but his opponent is already unsupply blocked himself. Those Corruptors are going to go ahead. They're going to goop those Colossuses, and they're going to go ahead and make sure those Colossuses don't deal too much damage to the Hydras, as they are going to go down very, very quickly. Those Hydras were able to take out the Reinforcement Stalkers, going to take out that Immortal so quickly as well, as they do just fire unbelievably fast. He's going to have to engage right here, as those Hydras do in fact have, they are in creeps, so they are moving at full speed right now, or double speed, or whatever way you want to look at it. Drops is now ready, however, so it is possible for DongRaeGu to be able to do some sort of swift counterattack right there. Remains to be seen if exactly he's going to be aiming for that right now, as he needs to be able to hold off this attack, and he kind of knows his opponent's all in because of these nicely placed Overseers that were all around. Looks like nice goops going down, dealing 20% extra damage to any of those units that have in fact been gooped. Looks like the force fields are going to come down just a little bit late. However, those Immortals are doing a lot of damage to those Roaches with the plus 5 damage from the weapons upgrade is doing very nice and chewing through those quite quickly. And after those roaches go down, Hydrals have so little health that even if you don't get the bonus damage, you're actually able to kill them quite quickly. However, they are dealing a lot of damage from behind, so it looks like Fnatic TT1 is going to have to go ahead and GG out of this game. So that was a really weird build from Fnatic. It was like a really delayed double robo into Immortals. I mean, I suppose if DongRaeGu was going pure roaches, it would be quite effective to do that, and those Immortals ended up helping, but it seemed like he gave DongRaeGu just too much time to prepare, and he did do a nice little bit of harassment, but that harassment should have come a little bit earlier. Maybe he should have gotten a robo earlier and skipped on the second robo, or at least delayed the second robo, you know, or waited until Colossus Tech and heal his max to be able to move out right here in the middle. That's really when the Protoss Deathball really wants to be moving, is when it's out in the middle. Of course, that would have meant that DongRaeGu would have had his Corruptors available for that attack. So overall, I think it just kind of ended up being a poor strategy. 7 gates all-ins without Blink, without Dark Templars or something like that can be pretty tricky to pull off against a competent Zerg player, not to mention an incredibly good Zerg player such as DongRaeGu. So it looks like DongRaeGu is going to be able to take this best of 5, 3-1. Very nice job on his part. Definitely weird to see double 6 pools, as that did represent a win on each side, so it didn't really work out too much for him in the end, as that proxy gateway was pretty effective for TT1 there, and the absolutely crazy game where neither player had any workers left. Well, DongRaeGu had 1 worker left, but he GG'd out as his opponent's 5 Zealots were just way too strong and able to kill him. And so very interesting game, and definitely very interesting series as well. Definitely good to see DongRaeGu. Big DongRaeGu fan, absolutely. I support him and always amazed by his Hydralisk play, and you can even see, or not his Hydralisk play, his Mutalisk play, as you can see from his Mutalisk in game number 2, I believe. Or was that game 1? Actually, I think it was both of those games. He had quite good Mutalisk control and really able to pick apart TT1. He specializes against Terrans for his Mutalisks, but they can also be proven against Protoss, as you saw from that game. So, very nice game. I mean, God, look at the creep spread. Look at how many bases he has. Like, DongRaeGu is just in control of this game. Look at that. That's so beautiful. I mean, how are you supposed to push out against that on 2 bases? Like, it's just not possible. You won't be able to get reinforced in time, which is exactly what happened to TT1, as he was able to trade somewhat favorably with his opponent, but in the end, just got flattened. Very nice games from DongRaeGu, and unfortunately for TT1, he ended up short these games. He needs to practice against the 6 pool, apparently. This is PGO Milncraft, signing off.